when Wanda's looking at that helicopter, she's also like looking around to see if anybody else is around, right? When
Yeah.
she's looking at it. And then who's the first person we see?
Agnes.
Agnes, with the most devilish looking face ever too. She looks like the villain, I swear to God. If you look at her face right when Wanda turns around at her, she just screams evil. And you know what she says? She says, "Look, it's the star of the show." That's imagine like she's just
I
the puppet
know.
master. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get going. Let's just start
Tell me
it up.
whenever you're ready, man.
I'm ready. We're recording. We're ready. We've been
We're
recording.
live.
We're
live
live
now.
We're good.
Oh, we are live with an unlimited.
Oh yeah, unlimited. Welcome back. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Zarius Justavala is the guest today. Had him on, I think, for 2 Toronto Maple Leafs reactions during the playoffs. Go check those out. His reactions were crazy. He had a lot of things to say about there. I think I had you on for a loss in game 1 and then the game 2 win. But yeah, a lot has happened since then. A lot of roster changes for the Leafs. So we're going to be talking some Toronto Maple Leafs today and their first 2 games of the year. And we're also going to be talking a lot about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the start of Phase 4 in the MCU with WandaVision. Came out yesterday. And we got a lot of things to talk about with that show, a lot of question marks. And we're going to be, trying to guess, I guess, what exactly is happening in this show because it's still very confusing. But first of all, Zarius, how you doing today? Thanks for coming on the show.
No worries, man. I'm glad to get on a podcast with you again. Your show is honestly amazing. You guys do so much. You guys talk like different topics, very interesting topics. So I'm glad to be back and give some opinions about some things today.
All right, awesome. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. All right, so Singing with Martina. And you guys probably have no idea what I just said. Singing with Martina. Yes, Martina, as in Martina Ortiz Luis, it is what Zarius has as his background right now. That is the Instagram page. What exactly is Singing with Martina? Well, Zarius and I came up with an idea. Every single Leafs home game, we will be singing along to Martina Ortiz Luis for the Canadian national anthem. And there actually isn't an American national anthem at all for the Leafs this year because they're only playing Canadian teams. And vice versa, for the teams that are in the States, there will not be a Canadian national anthem until the playoffs. So Zarius, how would you describe what we're doing here with Singing with Martina?
You know what, we both came up with this idea after the playoffs, and we said, you know what, like Martina is probably one of the best, I would say the best anthem singer in the league. For the past I've actually gotten into her singing for the past like 2-3 years now, and it's to the point where we actually know the tune of her voice and what parts like are increase, decrease in like in her tunes. So the point of this whole thing, I think, is just to get everyone a good laugh. Like it's 2 guys who don't really sing for a living, right? So
Absolutely
it's just
not.
it's just to give people a laugh, and make them feel a little bit more happier. And because I know it's hard right now being at home, stuck at home, people feel down and all that stuff. So really encourage people to tune in to this. Every Leafs home game, we'll be posting a video of us singing the national anthem with Martina.
Yeah. And you're probably thinking, like, why am I going to watch this? It's going to be the same thing every single home game. Like, you guys are just singing the anthem. We're going to try to entertain you guys. And we know that this could ultimately just be that one-hit wonder, but we're going to try and keep improving on it every single weekend.
Well, of course.
The reaction that we got for the first time we uploaded the first intermission of the Leafs game on Wednesday, Martina Ortiz Luis, she commented. She commented and liked the photo or the video.
Yep.
I could not believe that. I was sitting on my couch on my phone, just, I don't know what I was on, maybe the score or something. And then the notification comes up on the top of my screen saying Martina Ortiz liked your video, liked your IGTV video. And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it happened that quick. Like, I think that was our goal, right? Ultimately,
it was our goal. Our ultimate goal was just for her to see it.
Exactly.
What I mean? Like just to get noticed by her, and we actually did, and it was awesome.
Yeah, the first video too. I could not believe that. And yeah, like Zaria said, like we actually sang the song pretty well. Like every
I think
accent
so.
was in sync with her. Like, and it was in French too. We had a
Oh,
FaceTime call. Zarius and I had a FaceTime call. I would say maybe like half an hour or a bit less than half an hour
less than
before.
that, like 10
Yeah,
minutes before, I
yeah,
would
10
say.
minutes before the game, and he FaceTimed me saying, "Yo, is she gonna be singing in French?" And I was like, yeah, like yeah, she actually might be. I did not forget about I did not realize that until like 10 minutes before the game. And then
Yeah,
yeah, we just discussed it and we were like, yeah, we got to sing it in French. We both know it, luckily, you know,
yeah.
my 11 years of being in French immersion kind
French
of
immersion.
helped me out a little bit there. So yeah, luckily we knew that, and yeah, we are still in shock that Martina was able to comment on the post, and we reposted it on our stories, and our friends saw it, and everybody was liking that comment. I think it's up at like 20, 25 likes, something like that right now. So yeah, we're killing it. Stay tuned. Next Monday is the next one. Um, and they are playing. I believe it's Winnipeg on Monday.
Yep.
But yeah, we're gonna be coming back with something a little bit different. Something still very entertaining. We don't know what that is yet, but we're gonna figure it out.
No, but every single home game is going to be something new, right? So
Exactly.
we're going to spice things up a bit.
Exactly. It's not going to be the same thing every week. And also Martina Ortiz Luis, if you happen to be listening to this podcast right now, and you probably aren't, but we would love to have you on this podcast to talk about
Of
just
course.
you in general. Like, you have a phenomenal story to tell. You're so young, so talented. To be the Toronto Maple Leafs anthem singer at your age is unbelievable. It's
It's
amazing.
incredible.
And your voice is insane. Like, Zarius and I are big fans, obviously. We've been listening to her for such a long time, and we would love to talk to her and interview her and do a proper sit down talk with Martina. So I hope it happens. That's my goal, I guess, right now, trying to get her on the podcast. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it's a great idea that we had. I think kind of why I first thought of the idea is just because you would always send videos of yourself singing to Martina. Like, Zarius has a good voice. Like, he has a decent voice, and he sends us always Snapchats of him singing along with Martina, or just singing to like other songs, like in your car, or like on the street, just walking around. Like yesterday, what were you singing yesterday?
Oh,
Oh,
I was
that was not yesterday, but a couple days ago.
yeah, a couple days ago. I forget which song it was. It may have just been Hall and Oates, to be honest with you. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it may have just been that, but like yeah, I enjoy having a little bit of fun making people laugh, you know. So if I can do anything, but I've always been singing with Martina, um, even at the game itself. I think I have a
Yeah,
video as well when we went to a Leafs game and Martina, she came back from acting. I don't know if you remember that, but she was
yeah.
acting and took a break for a bit, and then she came back, and that was the game when she returned, and I was really really excited. So I decided that I recorded it while singing, and it's a good time. It's a good
Yeah,
time.
it's always good. I think I have a snap from like maybe 3 years ago. I was at your house after we went skating in your rink outside,
Yep.
and yeah, you just standing in front of the TV, just singing along with her, and then you're like, "Thank you, Martina." We both said it in sync. So
Yeah.
that's the start of something special. Hopefully, it
Yes.
continues, and hopefully, we continue to grow this channel or this Instagram page. So yeah, make sure you follow at Singing with Martina
Yeah.
on Instagram. Follow at Zarius Justivala on Instagram as well while you're at it. And yeah, stay tuned for more content coming with that. Let's move on to the Toronto Maple Leafs,
All right.
because I guess, we wouldn't really be doing that page if there wasn't a team.
Exactly. If it wasn't a team to support or anything, right?
Exactly. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, they kicked off their season on Wednesday night against the Montreal Canadiens. And, heading into the game, there's a lot of high expectations for this team. They had a very busy offseason. Joe Thornton, Zach Bogosian, Wayne Simmons, TJ Brody. And, they add all these veterans, these guys with more experience, and they get tougher, they get better defensively, and there's Stanley Cup aspirations. And Sheldon Keefe, he even said it in that IGT video that the Leafs posted a couple days ago, or I think it was on opening day, talking about Stanley Cup habits, and that's what the Leafs are trying to
Yeah.
establish here. They want to put in 100% effort into their practices, and they want to practice like they would in games, to really establish that Stanley Cup habit, I guess, right from the get-go. Um, so, Zarius, what impressed you about the Leafs on Wednesday night? I guess it was a battle. It was a back and forth game, and
Mhm.
they gutted out the win. But what stood out to you the most about the Leafs in that one?
You know, when I first started watching, there were a lot of high hopes for all of us with this group because we see all these new videos that they're posting, and they're going to be starting a documentary soon and stuff, right? So you see like little short clips of their new plan, right? Of like their blueprint, basically.
Mhm.
And you get all hyped up about it, right? So us Leafs fans, we're always hyped up before any season. We're like, oh, this is our year. This is it. This is it. But you know what? Always disappointed at the end. But so this year, I didn't really have much high hopes, even though there were new additions to the team. I was like, I just want to see how this group does. It's a new group. It's a new year. Let's just see how they do. They actually looked pretty decent in the first game. I know that they were down 3-1, but I didn't care about the score. They looked really decent. They
Yeah.
looked fast. They looked stronger. They had structure. Defense still needs a bit of work. Yeah, but I think our forward group actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. Like, even though they were down 3-1, that power play came up really clutch there towards
Yeah.
the end of the second period. Nylander looks, I don't know. It's hard to judge Nylander, I guess, right now, but he did score 2 goals in that game. He's always going to get criticized for his lack of effort, even though that's controversial. Like, I think
Yeah.
people just say that just because, of what he's done in the past. But I am willing to give Nylander another opportunity to become that player. He is still very, very young. I think he's only like 23 years old. And he's got tremendous talent. I believe with Sheldon Keefe now as the coach, he can really get some more out of Nylander, making him more of that tougher guy to play against, more physical, I guess, better on the forecheck. But he's always going to have that elite shot. He's got one of the best shots in the game. He's got one of the best set of hands in the game. And he's a game changer. So you love to see him start off the season right and getting 2 goals. But Matthews, what did you think of Matthews in the first game? Because throughout the first 2 games, no goals. But what do you think about his play?
Does he have a point yet?
Yes, I believe he has an assist. He
He
got
has
an
an
assist
assist.
on the OT winner by Riley. Pass
Oh yeah,
pass it
yeah,
up to
he did.
Tavares, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, that backhand that passed it up, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Matthews, to be honest with you, I didn't really see much of him perform in the first 2 games. You know,
yeah,
he it's like he was there, but he wasn't there, right? He was just
yeah,
like another body. But being one of your top players, you got to really stand out, right? Like make some plays. Like whenever he touches the puck, you're just like, man, he's not gonna lose it because
yeah.
his hands are so quick. Or if he loses it, he's getting it back. But I haven't really seen him do much. Maybe the other teams are shutting him down quicker, and he doesn't
Uh-huh.
have time to react. But being who he is, I think he should be able to get into spaces to be an opportunity to get a shot on net or something, right, and create something.
Exactly. And I mean, this is a unique year because you have Joe Thornton on his line as well this year. So it might take some time to get used to. But I think the first game of the year against Montreal, Matthews did look, I wouldn't say dominant, but he looked like himself. Like he
Yeah.
looked how he was in the playoffs, I guess.
Mhm.
A bit lackadaisical still and still turning the puck over and still making sloppy passes. But to be honest, I think that's Matthews' game, to be honest. He relies so much on his skill. And like you see him always do those like no look backhand passes, right? Or on the power play when he's skating up
Yeah.
the ice with the puck, just like a drop pass. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't look, right? He just thinks the player's there, or he does those saucer passes a lot, right? And you see Marner do that as well. I don't really know if that's a good thing to be doing, especially at a young age. Like you want to be able to just make good, solid, hard passes and not get lazy with your passes, which it does look like Matthews and Marner are doing. But to be honest, I do think that's just part of their game. They're young players. That's the way that they grew up learning it. Saucer passes, toe drags, all that stuff is just part of the new generation of hockey. Um, but I do have to say, last night, both Matthews and Marner did not look good. the entire Leafs roster did not look good. Did you watch the game last night?
I know I watched the first period, the full thing, and then I watched a bit of the second. But you know what?
Yeah,
After
that was it for me too.
after the Leafs scored a goal and then Ottawa answered back twice in a row, I was like, it's over now. Like the Leafs are shutting down. Like the group did not look good. Even when we were up, they still didn't look good
No,
because we were turning the puck over. We were being sloppy, and like Ottawa they've done a lot of changes. I gotta say, and I feel like the Leafs made them look better than what they were.
for sure.
Right.
And
So
you have to take in mind, like, Ottawa has not played a game in like 310 days, I think, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know if they're going to be too cold. They haven't played in so long. They're just going to forget stuff easily, or they're going to be the complete opposite and be super hungry to get after it. Like, they did not make the playoffs last year. They want some redemption on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's counting them out, right? Everybody thinks they're going to finish seventh out of 7 in the North Division this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just playing with house money. You know, if they win a game, that's huge because nobody expects them to beat like any other team in this division. But to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, they should be the first place team in this North Division. But
For sure.
I don't know. I'm not sure what's up with the Leafs right now. And I always think of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, would they lose to a team like the Ottawa Senators? The Ottawa Senators are really bad. Like, they are really bad on paper. I know they played well last night, and I might be too early to judge. Like, it's the second game of the year, but
Yeah.
that game just reminded me of the same old Leafs narrative, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's also a little early. It's a bit early to judge and criticize everything. I feel at the moment like we still haven't played every single team in our division once yet.
Right.
Right? I would say let's play every team once or play every team twice, and then let's criticize criticize the
Yeah.
Leafs for their performance.
I
Because
know.
I agree with you. We should be at the top. I feel like the Oilers are going to do really well though.
Okay.
They're looking pretty good, but I think it's going to be the Leafs and the Oilers up top in this division.
Who do you think will be the other two teams in the division? Because I do agree with you with Edmonton, Toronto. I think Toronto will finish in first. I think Edmonton might be either third or fourth. But what are your other two teams you think that'll make it?
I'm thinking I want Winnipeg. I like Winnipeg as a team. I don't know. Growing up, I just felt like Winnipeg once they rebranded, right? From what was it,
Yeah,
Atlanta
they were
to
Atlanta, and then they relocated to
they
Winnipeg. Yeah.
relocated to Winnipeg, right? So ever since then, I've been following Winnipeg quite a lot. So I would want Winnipeg, and I wouldn't mind Vancouver either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to see those two up there.
I agree with Vancouver. I don't know about Winnipeg, but they could make it. I just don't like Winnipeg's defensive core at all, and their goaltending situation is great with Hellebuck, but I don't know if he can like repeat the season that he had last year because he won the Vezina last year. I don't know if he
Right.
can do that 2 years in a row, and there's obviously some question marks on forward as well with Blake Wheeler getting old and Patrick Laine. Is he going to get traded or not? But
Mm-hmm.
he's looked good so far this year.
Yeah.
Um, I did a podcast last week, the big league that I do with school with Ryerson,
Yeah.
with Connor Somerville, and we had another guest on, and they were both saying that Vancouver won't make the playoffs. Vancouver will
Okay.
not finish in the top 4, and I disagreed with them. I thought Vancouver would finish second.
Yeah.
I was wondering what your take is on that. Like, do you disagree with people saying that they wouldn't make the playoffs at all?
No, I think they'll make the playoffs, but to counter yours, I don't think they'll finish in the top 2.
Okay.
Um, honestly, our division, I think any team could possibly make the playoffs.
Right.
Because there's 7 teams here. I know other divisions have 8. I know one team doesn't really make a difference, but for us, it's just 3 other teams that don't make playoffs.
Right.
Right.
That's
So
true.
in my eyes, it's not that much. Right. So like any team could just fill in the spot. I think Vancouver will be 3 or 4
Okay.
to make playoffs. Yeah.
So you got Toronto 1, I guess.
Yeah.
Edmonton
I
2.
would say Toronto 1, Edmonton 2, and then I would say maybe it's hard to decide.
Yeah, it is hard.
Calgary, or or Vancouver or
Calgary or
Winnipeg
Vancouver or Winnipeg.
or,
Yeah,
or
that is
Winnipeg,
true. That is a trio there. That's yeah,
right?
but then
Those trio.
Ottawa. But
Yeah,
what about
Ottawa and
Montreal?
Montreal. I don't
No.
know. I don't know
Yeah.
about Montreal though. I don't know.
I
They're
think
looking a bit weak, I feel.
yeah, I believe what I said was Toronto 1, Vancouver 2, I did I say Winnipeg or no, I didn't say Winnipeg. I think I said Edmonton 3, and then fourth place I said Montreal. I said Montreal would
Okay.
make it just because Carey Price, and I think this team has a lot of depth, and when we got a glimpse of it
Yeah.
on Wednesday, like Josh Anderson. And
Yeah.
I know all about Josh
Wow.
Anderson. He looks pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Tyler Toffoli on the third line. Like that team's got some depth. And their decor is pretty solid. Weber, Petrie, and Ben Sherratt, the three-headed monster there. So and then Carey Price in net. So it's pretty solid. But yeah, it's gonna be a battle. I didn't realize until you said like there's a good chunk of teams that could maybe not make the playoffs or just sneak
Yeah.
in there. It's going to be a battle, but
Yeah.
hopefully the Leafs have to win these games. If they want to finish in first, you got to beat Ottawa. Tonight,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's a must win.
I think so
Like
too. I agree with
it's
you.
not a must win, but like obviously if you lose this game, there's still a ton of games left, but this is really going to affect them if they lose back to back to
Yeah.
Ottawa. Like
Yeah.
Leafs Twitter is going to be going off, the media is going to be going off on them. Like it's
Oh,
unacceptable.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got here? Jack Campbell starts tonight in Ottawa,
Yeah.
second half of back to back. What do you think of Frederick Anderson so far this year?
My gosh, don't even get me started. I don't know. I felt like last year in the playoffs, he looked a bit like towards the end, he just looked like he was letting anything and everything in. Right? I don't
Hmm.
know. Like you were with me when we were watching the games against Columbus, and it was just silly mistakes,
Yeah.
and it was his fault, and he knew it was. It was just really silly mistakes, and even this time as well. Like I don't know. I wouldn't say a lot of these were his fault, but some of them he should be stopping for sure. I don't know. He doesn't look the best of how he used to be, right?
Uh-huh. And we know like Freddie normally gets off to rough starts to start years back
Yeah.
in when the NHL season used to start in October. I think October used to be like his worst month, but I heard great things about Anderson coming into this year. Like I think he got to the facility 2 months in advance. He was training with the strength and conditioning coaches for the Leafs. I think he was training with Morgan Riley. He got there early as well to the facility. He's got some new True pads. He's not using the Bowers anymore. He's using the same brand that Mitch Marner uses, his stick and his
Okay.
gloves. Freddie's got True pads, gloves, blockers. I don't know if that's been a difference maker so far this year for him. Maybe something to adjust to. But that might be a bit of a factor. But um, I really I don't know what they do with Campbell and Anderson, like the split, right? Anderson's
Yeah.
going to get the majority of the starts, but do you think that they should transition maybe to more of a 1A, 1B with them, like kind of
You
split the
know,
starts?
Campbell only played a few games when he joined last year, right? Um, but I would like to see a bit more of Campbell this year, for sure. 50 what? 56
Yeah,
playing this
56
year.
games. Yeah.
56 games this year. Um, Start off with Anderson as much as you want, but like if you see him going in a slump early in the season, I would say like within 10 to 12 games, I would say experiment a little bit. Like there's only 7 teams in this division. I'm sure the Leafs are going to make the playoffs. Like I'm sure of it. Like
Yeah.
they should
They
make the
better.
playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Play Campbell a little bit, right? Like try him out, and I think he's going to do pretty well. And if so, why not do 1A 1B?
Yeah. And also, like, you want to have arrested Frederick Anderson for the playoffs if they do. When they
Yeah.
do make the playoffs, you don't want him to have been playing, 40 plus games and be tired by the first round.
Mm,
Jack
yeah.
Campbell, what we saw of him in the few games last year, he looks pretty good, and he was, playing better than Anderson for some of those games, I would say. And I know Anderson was hurt for some time when Campbell got most of the starts, but Campbell looked pretty solid. and I'm sure he's going to have a good game tonight. He should, at least. Like, it's his first game of the year. He should be rested. He hasn't played since regular season of last year because he didn't play any playoff games. So he's hungry. He knows that Anderson's been struggling. This might be his opportunity to get a few more starts. And it's Ottawa. They're not the best team. You should win. You should have a good save percentage, a good goals. You shouldn't let in too many goals against them. So I would like to see them as well go maybe towards, I wouldn't say fully 1A, 1B, like not like a, what's a good example? Maybe Vancouver will go towards a 1A, 1B with Braden Holtby and Thatcher Demko this year. But yeah, I would like to see, Anderson maybe play like, it depends how they both play, but ideally Anderson maybe plays 35 games and Campbell plays the rest. And that might be pushing it a little bit because Anderson is still a very good goalie. I guess we're just going to have to see how the season goes, but yeah. What else can we talk about with this team? Like we said, like it's 2 games into the year. Don't really want to criticize them too much yet.
No, I don't want to either. I don't want to criticize them either.
I do want to ask, what are your expectations for this team this year? Are they very high, or have you gotten your hopes up too much in past years and you're just having a low bar?
Oh, hopes up in previous years? You really want to go there? Oh man.
Well, I'm sure, right? No?
Last year, I had such high hopes. I was like, first round, it's going to be hard because Columbus are going to be a good team, but I was like, we should make the second round. Like, we have to make the second round. And it was literally our chance to make it through last year. Like, if we beat Columbus, we could have a pretty easy way up to facing maybe Tampa, right? Maybe Tampa in the next round.
Yeah, it would have been Tampa.
But it would have been fun. It would have been fun and interesting to watch, like, us at least in the second round or first round.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because I was like qualifier, but at least make it to like the next step, right? But this year, I don't know. My hopes are still high, but at the same time, I'm not getting too excited. I'm not getting too invested in saying that, like, hey, we got to do it. We're going to the next round of the playoffs and everything. I'm just going to take it one step at a time. This team is good. It looks good. It's good on paper and it's good on the ice. They just got to execute now.
Yeah.
They just got to execute. I don't know about that Joe Thornton with Matthews line. I don't know.
All right. Okay. We can talk a little bit about
that, but
we can talk about that before I say my expectations.
Okay.
Who do you think is the ideal line mate then to be playing with Matthews, I guess? And also then second part, do you keep Matthews and Marner together? Do you split them up?
You know what? I kind of enjoyed watching Marner and JT playing with each other last year. I just feel like they have such good chemistry with each other. Like, Marner just knows where he is at every single time. So I really would like to see a Hyman, JT, and Marner line.
Yeah, I think they tried that last year too. Yeah,
they did that last year and it worked because Hyman's insanely like he works hard. He works really hard. And to see him on the third line, I was kind of disappointed to see him on the third line. But maybe I don't know. It's so hard. They have such good talent. Like, I would say put Willie back with Matthews. Try Willie, Matthews, and Joe together.
Okay. Yeah.
Willie, Matthews, Joe, and then JT, Hyman, Marner. Who else am I missing?
Then are you doing the third line now?
Yeah, I was gonna do third.
Kerfoot.
I don't know.
Mikheyev, I guess.
Kerfoot, Kerfoot, Mikheyev.
And then Jimmy Vesey, I guess, would be the guy to.
Vesey's playing well, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Vesey so far. He reminds me a bit of James Van Riemsdyk.
Yeah,
he's a bigger body.
I was actually gonna say that.
Yeah, and
I don't know. I feel like he's not like spoken about at all.
No.
Right, and he hides in the shadows, you know. He makes his impact, but yeah, that's my take on those lineups. I know I said I don't like Thornton on that first line, but to be honest with you, I don't know where else to put him.
Put him on the fourth line, I guess.
You know what? You know what? Put him on the third line and put Mikheyev up top on the first line. Try him out. That speed up top will be unreal.
You know what? That is a good point. And then yeah, third line,
Try it
Thornton,
out. Like
Kerfoot,
I
Hyman or
I can
something, or
actually
not Hyman,
see
VC.
I can see Hyman going up first line. Wait,
Right. Yep.
Hyman's center, isn't he? No,
No, wing, wing,
Hyman's
wing.
wing. Wing. Yeah, put Hyman, Matthews, Willie, and then Marner, JT, Mikheyev, and
Okay.
then Thornton, Kerfoot, and
Kerfoot.
Vesey.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be pretty fun to watch too. I would like to see some speed up top. Thornton's a big body, and he's smart though, which is good to have on the first line. It's good to have a veteran like him on the team who's just smart and understands the game and can teach the boys, right?
Yeah. And he's one of the best passers in the game too,
Oh
still
yeah,
at his age.
oh yeah,
So
yeah. And
what
when I watched the first game, when I watched the first one of the season, I was like, holy crap, who is this big guy on the
yeah.
ice? And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, it was nice to see
It
someone
looks so
huge on
nice.
our team for it. It looks so great because we
Yeah.
don't have a big body on our team, right?
I know. And it was nice to see Bogosian out there too, even though he took 2 penalties
Oh
in the
yeah,
first game.
yeah.
Like
I love him.
it's good to
He's
see him
great.
on
It's good to
the
see more
penalty
guys.
kill.
Yeah,
And then yeah, it's like him, Muzzin, Justin Hall is a bit bigger, and then Wayne
yeah. Justin
Simmons
Hall's
looks
bigger.
good too with the fight in the first game.
Oh my gosh, it looks scary. It just looks
Yeah,
scary to watch that fight.
I know. Yeah, and that's what he said in his interviews. I don't know exactly what the quote was, but he was talking about punching someone in his face, and he might not score a lot of goals, but he can punch you in the face and he can stand up for the
Yeah,
team, and that's what he did in the first game. I don't think the Leafs win that game if that fight doesn't happen too.
yeah,
So that's what they need. They need those character guys, and Bogosian has won the Stanley Cup. Thornton has never won a Stanley Cup, but he's been in the league. I think before I was born, he started playing in the
yeah,
league. He's been there
yeah,
for a while. So here, what about my lines? I would say
yeah.
you gotta keep Matthews first line center. Still, I wouldn't drop him to second line. I think he's the bona fide number one. And then yeah, I agree. William Nylander, put him back with Matthews. They had a lot of success in. I think Matthews' first 2 seasons. They played together a lot and they had
Yeah.
good chemistry. Um, on the wings, that's tough. I would like to see. I would put Hyman, Matthews, Nylander again. Like you said, that
Yeah.
line worked well in past years, and you want. Nylander's not going to go after the puck too much. You want another guy on the wing to go after it, and Hyman's going to get that puck, and Hyman will pass it over to Willie, and Nylander will obviously find Matthews. He's a great passer. Second line right now, I like it. I would honestly just like VC to stay on that second line with Tavares, and then just insert Marner, and I think that's a better line
Okay.
than the Nylander
Yeah.
line. And
Yeah.
then third line, I think Joe Thornton does work on the third line, third or fourth line. First line, like even though he was playing on the first line with Matthews and Marner to start, he wasn't getting first line ice time. Like he was still playing like 14
No.
minutes a night. So
Yeah.
Keith used him pretty well. But yeah, I would say Thornton, Kerfoot, and Mikheyev. I think that's a pretty solid line
That's
as
a pretty
well.
solid line. Yeah.
Or honestly, what you could even do is just move. If you don't want to play Thornton on the third line, bump him down to the fourth line. Insert Nick Robertson. Put Robertson with
Okay.
Kerfoot and Mikheyev, and that's a
I like that.
pesty, fast because Kerfoot's fast, Mikheyev's fast, Robertson's fast. And then you got the veteran line in Thornton, Spezza, and Wayne Simmons on the fourth line.
I like that. I like that. I like that take right there.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. As far as my expectations go for this team, I don't know. After the first game, to be honest, after the first game, I thought like, hey, we might be onto something. We had a good start. Thornton looks good. All these additions, helped out. It was a big character win, right? It was a character win.
Yeah.
You were down in the game, you battled back, you won. That's the kind of games that you have to win. And even though Montreal might not make the playoffs this year and people think that they're not the best team, it was a gutsy performance. The Habs always play the Leafs hard.
Yeah.
They might be easier against other teams, but it's the Leafs, and that rivalry is great, and you won it. That's good in overtime. But last night just completely changed my thoughts. Like maybe this is the same old Leafs team. But I was thinking about it last night watching the game, and I was really disappointed because they got my hopes up in that in that first game. They let me down last night, but I was thinking, I'm just waiting for this Toronto Maple Leafs team to go from the Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs, to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, like you
Yeah.
like a team that has an identity to not choke, to not lose to bad teams, and to put all that aside and just go out and dominate every single game. And I said it in the group chat last night too. The best players have to be our best players. Braden Point, Nikita
Yeah.
Kucherov, and Steven Stamkos, if you watch them in the playoffs, we watched a lot of them last playoffs. They were insane every single game. They were their best players. They were getting all the points, all the goals. If Matthews and Marner were like that, we'd win all the games. But they're not
For
there
sure.
yet. John Tavares, I don't know if he can live up to like a Nikita Kucherov at this point of his career. He's getting a bit older, and we kind of know what we're going to get out of Tavares. One of these guys really needs to take the reins and just win you a game. When you're losing, step up. We haven't seen that yet. I don't think in the entire career of Matthews and Marner. And I'm just waiting for that moment. And until that moment happens, I don't want to have super high expectations, because right now they're just the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they could be what I aspire them to be, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, that insane team
Definitely.
that'll finish in first, can win a President's Trophy, can be the Tampa Bay Lightning essentially. And I don't know. I'm just waiting for that moment at some point this year that I'm like, okay, this team is good. Like, this team could actually do it. And I always think back to the Toronto Blue Jays back in 2015. And that was the year that the Bautista bat flip happened and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That very first game of the year, they played the New York Yankees. And the Yankees are obviously a powerhouse team. And the Blue Jays, at that point, the first game of 2015, no expectations at all. But they brought in Donaldson. They brought in actually, at that point, they didn't really have too many guys. Donaldson was like the biggest guy that they brought in. No Tulo, no David Price. It was just Donaldson. But that was just Russell Martin. That was also a character guy that they brought into that team. And they had I think it was like a 7-2 win against the Yankees. And I was just like, this team looks different. Like, something about this team just looks different. They have that swagger about them, and they have that competitiveness to them. I don't see that competitiveness in Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner does not scare me right now as a player. Donaldson scares me. You know, you feel me? Like, Josh Donaldson is like intimidating to other teams.
Yeah.
Like, he is a gamer. He was the MVP that year. Mitch Marner is like this. Donaldson is like this. I'm waiting for that moment where Marner just goes into like Super Saiyan mode. Like, yeah. So
I think we're all waiting for that, right? Like, we're all waiting for him to just take a lead. You know what I mean? And show us what he got, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're waiting for him.
He's been disappointing right now.
Yeah, we're waiting for him to be that player that he was in juniors, and the player that he was with Team Canada. I hope Matthews becomes that. I don't know about Marner, to be honest. I think he's also very overpaid, but that's another topic that we don't need to get into right now. We've talked too much about contracts in the past couple years. We're done with that. At least we have them, right? At least we have them signed.
Yeah, exactly. We got them signed their hours right now, so.
Yeah. All right. So there's our Toronto Maple Leafs rant for second game of the year, but hey, we'll be back with more later on. Let's move on to a more happier kind of vibe to the podcast. We're going to be talking about some Marvel Cinematic Universe, and WandaVision came out yesterday after a year off of any Marvel content being released. I think the last that's perfect. The transition there.
There
I'm sorry, this is back.
I had to transition, man.
That's perfect. So yeah, I think the last piece of Marvel content was Spider-Man Far From Home back in 2019, summer 2019, just after Endgame. So we've been waiting a long time for the next Marvel thing to come out, and WandaVision comes out, and the trailers come out too. I guess we should talk about, the anticipation before this series. Like, when you watch these trailers, what were you thinking? Like, did you know what was going on?
I saw all these trailers on like black and white. I'm just like, what's
Yeah.
happening here? I'm just like, is
Yeah.
it like a comedy? Is it meant to be like a romantic comedy? I'm like, what's happening here? I was so confused when watching it because like you have some trailers showing like action, right? And then you have some trailers like showing all like the dainty, like being a modern family and all that stuff, right? So it was really, really confusing when I was watching those trailers, for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, same with me. Like, I didn't know when this was going to be taking place. Like, are we looking at like a flashback when Vision was still alive? Are we
Mm.
looking at some sort of like multiverse thing where they're in like a completely other universe, or is this just happening in like is someone projecting this? Why
Yeah,
is
is
it black
someone
and
doing
white? Like,
something? Yeah,
we see like snippets of them like preparing for some sort of battle. Like, I think in the final trailer, they were just like, this is our home, then let's fight for it. Like, we kind of see like something that tells us there's a fight or a battle going on at the end. um
yeah.
and they kind of act like Avengers, like how they should be in a regular
Hmm.
Avengers movie. But for
Yeah,
most of the trailer, it was just like, what is happening? What is this?
yeah. It was very, very confusing when watching the trailers for sure.
Yeah, well, let's
It
get
it
into the
it
series
it
then.
yeah. You know what? It made me want to think like, should I even watch this series at all? I was so confused, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's jump
And
into it for sure.
to be honest, I guess, you did bring up a good point, because to some Marvel fans, I could I could even see some fans of like the past Marvel stuff just not watching this one at all.
Yeah.
And I completely disagree with that. If you're a fan of Marvel, like, you want to know what happens. Like, even though this might be a bit of a change, like, it still relates to everything else that was going on, and you're going to want to watch this to watch the rest of Phase 4, because Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel, has said, this is going to be the opening um,
Yeah.
content, I guess, to Phase 4. This is what's going to open it up and open the next wave of Marvel movies to come out. So this is a big one.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
I told myself before watching it, I was like, I really hope Marvel doesn't just go straight into the black and white stuff, because
Ah.
the last time we see Wanda was in Endgame, talking to Clint, right, on the lake, and like they were talking about, hopefully I want Natasha to know that we won, and Wanda's like, she knows, they both do, right? And she's talking
Yeah.
about Vision, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, and I was really hoping they didn't just start this series off with Vision back and them in the black and white world. I wanted to see the transition, like how,
Like how it
yeah, how
happened.
it happened, right? And I was
Yeah.
honestly kind of disappointed that they just go straight to the black and white stuff
Really?
right away. But I'm hoping, and I probably know, like, they're gonna show it at some point. Like, they have to, right? Like, how in the world did this start? Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna have to show how Wanda got
Yeah,
here.
and I think they'll do that. I think they're just starting off by showing this new reality for Wanda and Vision, right? Like their new reality being like a couple now, right? Like technically married, but but it showed like they had no idea what was happening, or at least Wanda didn't know. Like, because I remember, if we're gonna get into it right
Let's
now,
get into it. Yeah.
in the first episode, it was they were sitting on the couch, I believe, and I think it was their Vision's boss, right? And the wife came over to eat, and they were asking questions like, so where'd you get married?
Yeah.
When did you get married? Blah blah, all these questions, and they
Why
were
don't
like,
you have kids
oh,
yet? Yeah.
yeah, and they're like, oh, we got married at, oh, I don't know, and then I don't know, and then it was a big pause, and they both were just so confused as to like, wait, what the hell is happening right now,
Yeah.
right? And
And
then
mm-hmm.
yeah,
And we even see like before that too. And this might just be nothing, and probably is, but even just the fact that they didn't remember what that heart was on the calendar at first. And I
yeah,
know, like, that might be something that you could just forget, like, but like, still, why do you forget that? And also, they kind of just ignored it after that, and Vision went off to work. Like, they didn't try to think of what was actually happening that night. And Wanda has like a strange look on her face too, right, when she
yeah.
goes back to look at the calendar. And
In my eyes, I didn't really think of it at first, but now that you brought it up, I don't know. It could be like a date that she remembers and like it's just portrayed on the calendar, or it could be a date that he remembered and it's portrayed. You know what? Like this this first 2 episodes were so like mind
Mind-boggling.
boggling. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, honestly, there's just so much to take away from this, and I'm sure you have questions about it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that first episode. So, let's walk it through. So yeah,
sure.
they start off at their house. Vision goes to work. That was a funny sequence when he was at his work too, talking to
Oh yeah,
that other guy.
yes. Like what
Yeah,
exactly do we do here?
yeah, exactly. That's also like
Right,
why? Like
so
that's
it was a
creepy.
bit so it's almost as if it's like it just like their lives just started in that moment.
Exactly.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's like they just started there, and it's like, okay, I'm at work, but what the hell do I do?
yeah,
Right? Or like, what is my role at this job? Like, I know what to do, but like,
uh
what
huh,
do we do here?
yeah, uh
Right?
huh.
So in that sort of way, I feel like it like just started for them as well, but something like has been like imported in their mind in a way that like they know of stuff that's happened in the past with them. Like they already know they moved here, they've settled down here, and like he knows he has a job, but he doesn't know he has a job and stuff like I don't know. It's just
He knows he has a job, but he doesn't know what the job is exactly. He
yeah,
has. There's so many questions, and then I found the funny part where the guy's just like it's like you're a talking computer or a walking computer,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
Vision's just like, no, I'm absolutely am
Really
not.
not.
And then yeah, his boss comes in, and then he says like, hey, I'm looking forward to the dinner tonight, and then he's like, oh yeah, Mr. Hart,
Yeah,
that's what the heart was for,
yeah.
um and then they have that phone. He has that phone call with Wanda talking about. It was a very funny phone call too, because
That
Wanda
was
thinks. Oh, before that, I guess maybe we should get into
the neighbor who walks in,
the
right?
neighbor
Yeah.
that walks in, and I'm just gonna say this right now. I think she's the villain. I think
Really?
I am very suspicious of her. Very,
Hmm.
very suspicious. The first thing. So she comes in with. Did she come in with anything like a whole like a gift?
I think
I
she came
think.
with like a yeah, like
Yeah.
a housewarming present,
Yeah. Exactly. Something like that.
flowers or something. I think like flowers or something she gave.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm so picky with this one line. This line tells me so much, and I was telling like my sister about it too, and she just thinks I'm way over my head about it. But um, I think Wanda introduces herself, and she's just like, "I'm Wanda," and then Agnes, the neighbor, is just like, "Wanda, charmed," and she like puts her hand out for her to shake it or something, right?
Yeah.
Charmed. Why say charmed? That's just like
I don't
scary
know.
to me, I
I
think.
that in a sense, I think you're also going a little bit over your head there because like in those days, that's what they used to say,
Okay.
right? Like in my eyes, like that's what they used to say, like charmed. Like it's
Right.
just something they used to say, like it's like I'm delighted to meet you or something like that, right? So
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah, I'm just way over my head,
but I
yeah.
understand, because like Marvel just likes to screw with our heads,
Yeah, I know.
like the Leafs do. Marvel also likes to screw with our minds, but it's fun. It's fun to figure these things out.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, and then I guess we can skip to like the dinner that they had with Mr. Hart, and you
Yep.
already kind of mentioned it. Like, I do have another theory about this too. So yeah, they're at the table, and obviously the dinner takes forever to make. Wanda is struggling in the kitchen. She doesn't know how to cook anything. Agnes comes over again to give her a hand, and also I just found it creepy how she's still there and she didn't want to leave. It seems she came back again. Like I don't know. Sorry, enough with Agnes. I do think that
Yeah.
she's the villain though. So yeah, they finally get the dinner ready, and they had a funny sequence on the couch too with
Oh,
Mr. Hart and his wife and Vision. They were
that was
saying
hilarious.
Old
Oh,
McDonald.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
I found that hilarious.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
very
good.
funny. I had a good laugh there. But
I
then
the other
yeah,
laugh was when sorry, I'm skipping back a little bit.
yeah.
When Mrs. Hart was gonna open the shutters because she
Oh
heard all of
yeah.
that noise, and then Vision starts to sing that song.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, there was there was another part where Vision and Wanda are both in the kitchen, and then Mrs. Hart goes to open the blinds, and she's just like,
Oh yeah.
who in there?" And then Wanda's like, who back to you." Yeah, I laughed at that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, anyways, I guess they're at the table. Wanda finally has the dinner ready. It's breakfast for dinner. Of course it is. I think that's a reference to older shows. They normally have that, breakfast for dinner.
It's a European dinner.
Right, exactly. That's what they said. Sokovian, right? Sokovian dish.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get to the table, and then Mrs. Hart just starts asking these questions. Like sorry, I said, where did you move from? How long have you been married, and why don't you have children yet? And then they just can't figure it out. And then um, Vision's thinking, Wanda's thinking, and awkward silence for maybe like 5 seconds. Then Mrs. Hart is just like, it's okay, take your time, get your story right. But then Mr. Hart is like more demanding. He's just like,
He's more persistent.
honestly,
Wants an
it's
answer.
exactly. He's like, honestly, it's such a simple question. Like, what is your story? He's like, damn it, why? Damn it, why?
Hmm.
Then he starts choking on his food. And this is my theory, because if you go back and watch it, um, he takes a bite of his food before the awkward silence happened. So he takes a bite of his food, and then it's not until like 10, 15 seconds later where he chokes on it. He doesn't take another bite. He just takes one bite, and then he says, really, what is your story? Damn it, why? And it's like 15 seconds go by, and then he starts choking on it, which is really weird because normally when you eat something, it maybe will take like 3 seconds for you to start choking on it, or like 4 seconds, right? He's not going to be chewing something for 15 seconds. So my theory is that the wife is also evil. The wife is working with Agnes, the neighbor. The wife is working with Agnes, and the wife cast a spell on Mr. Hart to get him to choke.
Okay.
And you're probably wondering why. Well, why would she do that to her husband? Well, it's because in that moment, Wanda and Vision started to realize that something might be off here. Why don't we remember this stuff? And her wife, or his wife, no, sorry, her husband is demanding now. He wants an answer. He wants an answer. And the wife must be thinking, okay, maybe it's getting a bit too suspicious right now. Maybe Wanda and Vision are starting to realize that this might be some fake made up world,
Fake reality, right?
and she wants her husband to stop demanding it, right? So she causes him to choke because she doesn't want him to be talking anymore and be so demanding. I think that might be it might be something completely wrong too, but I'm just guessing here. I think she's evil as well, and also it was just so creepy, that entire sequence, because as he's choking,
She's saying something else, right?
she's saying stop it, but she has a big smile on her face.
Yeah, and she was laughing and everything as well,
Yeah,
right? Like how it's happening.
I know.
I don't know. I think that whole like you mentioned, like you're mentioning great points now. It's making me start to think. But but yeah, I don't know. She gave off a really weird vibe, Mrs. Hart. But then also when Wanda was like, Viz, help him. Like because
Yeah,
they just sat there and like, Viz, help him now. Right? And like he actually used like his skills, like he went through someone's freaking
throat.
neck
Yeah, yeah,
and grabbed the item out. And then he stood up and then all of a sudden it was like, well, this has been lovely.
I know, right?
And then it's like, what the hell? Like everything's normal now? Like he just put his hand through you, and I'm sure the wife saw. Like
Yeah.
Mrs. Hart probably saw that. Like so in my mind, like I think someone could, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get into so much of this stuff. But I think someone, because like I'm not going in order of this whole thing. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. It's just say what you got to say.
All right. I personally think this thing is not real. Like this whole reality is not real. Someone is doing this to Wanda because
Hmm.
Wanda, well, it probably goes back afterwards. Story will be told, but Wanda is probably feeling a lot of grief about losing Vision.
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, I just want to see him. I just want to be with him. And someone's like, well, I can give you the opportunity to have a life with him in another reality. And then she probably says, okay, well, sure, whatever. Like my life's useless right now. I just want to be with Vision, sure. And then they say, okay, everything's gonna be exactly the same, like how you know him. You'll have like the same memories, same everything. Like you guys will be together. You'll have a family. You'll live together in like a suburban area. Blah blah blah. I feel that that person that put her in this state has put her in a bad state though. Is like controlling her mind, controlling her story.
Yeah.
making her doubt herself in these situations. But the thing is, I don't understand how Vision will have like the same thoughts as her. Then, like, where'd you get married? Why haven't you had kids? Like, they both had that same thought process. Like Wanda and Vision both had that same thought process at the table, saying like, wait, where are we?
Mm-hmm.
Like what is happening? So at that time, I was like, I don't even know if Vision's even a real thing or like a
Yeah.
real person in this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, is he just made up through this new
I mean,
reality, or is he?
he's
Or
definitely not a projection because we see
yeah,
them touching each other and kissing and stuff,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's a projection. I think he's like an actual like being. It may actually be him itself, but like how?
Yeah.
Because we saw that Thanos did what he did, but again, if you go back now to Endgame, that whole sequence and blah blah, when they brought everyone back, I don't know about that because I know that Vision wasn't part of the whole snap fingers like
What? So you
50%
think
dead.
he might have been brought back?
I think Vision may have been brought back, but the thing is, I don't know because then that would have bring Natasha back. But we don't know if Natasha's
I
back.
think Natasha's back still, but that's a different thing as well. I think it's the
Oh,
Hulk. The Hulk snap. The Hulk snap brought
that's
her
what I'm
back.
thinking. I'm thinking the Hulk snack may have brought like literally everyone back.
Yeah.
But you know what? We don't
Yeah.
know.
I definitely am in agreement with your theory about WandaVision, though. I think it's it's not made up. I have a crazy theory as well, and I don't want this to be true, but like we should probably talk about the ending scene of the first episode,
Yeah,
where they
definitely.
and this is the most mind-boggling thing to me. It's probably the most confusing thing to me throughout the entire episode, and I've been thinking about it so much. Um, they they pan out from a close-up of Wanda and Vision. They're looking dead at the camera too. They know it's there. And then they pan out, and we see it turn into a TV, and we're in like some sort of headquarters, and we see the Sword logo, and we know Sword's going to be in this because we've seen them in the trailers. They've been mentioned in the trailers, and he's like making notes, right? He's making notes about something, and um, so I'm thinking like, and this would be absolutely crazy. Imagine Wanda's in that room. Wanda's in that room, the headquarters room, right? And what Sword is doing, they just have like something hooked up to her, like in like on her head or something. And this is all just happening in her head. Like Wanda's just knocked out completely. Like she's unconscious, and they're just watching what is in her head.
That's
That'd be
honestly
so
like what I
scary,
was
though.
thinking. But that's honestly like my train of thought. Like that's
Yeah,
what I would be thinking. Like we're gonna put you in this reality, like probes in your head, like all of your body, whatever. Like you're knocked out, but like this is in you.
yeah.
Like this is your
So,
life now.
so that means that somebody else already did something to her to harm her, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, somebody put something in her head, and she's been unconscious for we don't know how long, and they're just trying to figure out what exactly is in her head and what she's seeing.
Yeah.
um so yeah, that could be a reason, although I don't want that to happen. Like imagine we just see like at the end of the series is over, we just see Wanda like just knocked out in a room. I don't want to see that at all. um Another theory might just be that whoever is causing all of this just put together like a reality, like you said, like a reality with all these people, and um, like every single person is under a curse, I guess, in Westview. Like, what is Westview? I guess we can talk about that. Like, I think all of the characters in it, Agnes, Mr. Hart, Mrs.
Yeah.
Hart, all of the other people there in the community have like some sort of spell on them where they go out of consciousness and unconsciousness. They sometimes they realize like, okay, something's wrong, but for the most part they're just under a spell. So and I don't know why somebody would do this to Wanda, but I guess we're gonna find out the reason as to why later on.
Hmm.
But still, how is, like, if someone was to do that, just not hire, but just get a bunch of people to enter this new reality and trick their minds, how would you get Vision? Because Vision is dead.
Yeah.
and they still have the body too. They still have Vision's body, but there's no Infinity Stone. There's no Mind Stone. How in the world does Vision end up here?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't like, and that's just the mystery that I think will be explained later. Like I know I don't want to skip anywhere like into the second episode because I know I want to like talk about it as well. But like at the end of the second episode, everything goes into color now, right?
yeah,
So that's something we'll talk about that
yeah.
afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they took Vision's body, and then I know they're able to like create, right, like tissue and stuff like that, like Wakanda.
We
But
saw it in Age of Ultron. Yeah, like
yeah,
Clint was shot
but we
in.
saw it in Age of Ultron, right? So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but I think it'll be interesting to see like what happens and what Vision actually is. Like, is he actually back or not?
yeah. I feel so bad for Wanda. Like if someone's actually just tricking her and
Yeah,
like tricking her into believing that Vision is still alive, and then we all know he's not alive. So we all know that Wanda's probably gonna find that out.
mhm,
At some point of this series, Vision is actually not alive. She's gonna be crushed because
yeah.
she's lost everyone. Like, there's no Tony Stark, there's no
Well,
Captain
yeah,
America,
yeah,
there's no Black Widow. She was probably the closest with Natasha Romanoff.
mhm,
And well,
yeah,
she was the closest with Vision, I guess. So.
yeah. Well, also the thing is like just jumping into the second episode now,
Yep.
if we can, but
Yep.
in this in the second episode, I remember like the neighbor Agnes, your favorite, likes to took Wanda over to the next door neighbor's house, the other neighbor, right? To go because I think she's having like a party or something.
A
Um,
meeting. Yeah. A
a,
planning meeting.
a
Yeah.
planning meeting of some sort. And towards the end, Wanda's like, I'm so glad you invited me or delegated me to be the cleanup committee because
Yeah.
Wanda's just there like cleaning up, right? And then such a weird interaction with this neighbor. I don't know if I forget her name, but like she was saying, "Who are you? Like I'm so
That was.
suspicious of you and your
Oh,
husband,
yeah. 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 I
right?"
know.
And like she was like so
Dottie. Her name is Dottie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'm so suspicious of you. Like, who are you? It was
Hmm.
just quiet. And
Yeah.
like Wanda's like, I don't even know. Like basically like she wasn't even answering. And then all of a
Right.
sudden this radio's going off. Then like, Wanda, what are they doing to you? Wanda, are you there? Wanda, what are they doing to you?
Well, yeah. I know.
And then like all of a sudden the glass breaks in Dottie's hand, and then the radio stops and he goes, "Oh my god, I'm so like, let me help you." And then it ends up being a freaking joke. Dottie's like, "You know what? You know how the best way to get blood off of like a white linen? Doing it yourself." And then she walks away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, first of all, you were superstitious of this person. Like you're asking her all these questions. Like you were
Yeah.
so sorry, not superstitious, suspicious
Suspicious. Yeah.
of this person, of Wanda, and now you're like, hey, I'm fine. Now I'm just gonna go clean the blood off my hand. Like,
Yeah.
I found that so weird. I found it so weird. And then I think the radio happened again a second time.
Uh. E- it
Or happened
happened at
it
the
happened
very end, I think.
something towards the end or something. I forget
Yeah.
when it was, but then yeah, it was just
Yeah. I
yeah.
guess jumping before that.
Mhm.
Um. I think the first clue that I saw in the second episode, um, and it's just an
Oh.
Easter egg, is the I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, the Mind Stone on the magic box that they were using.
Oh
If
no, I
you
didn't see that.
Yeah, like the at the top of the magic box, it looks like it's basically the Mind Stone and like something like
Really?
shining there. Yeah.
Okay.
Um
I didn't
so
see
that
that actually.
yeah, that might be like something there. But
Mm.
oh, now I think I know what you're talking about. The helicopter, right? Is that what you the
Yeah,
the re- the
yeah.
red
I was gonna.
helicopter?
At the beginning of the helicopter, I was really really confused at to see like something in color like just on screen, so it made no sense as to what was happening. Maybe the people who were like controlling her mind made a mistake.
No,
You don't think so?
that's the a sword helicopter because we saw the sword logo on the
Oh
helicopter too.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
You're right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I guess, and also I guess like the only thing I can tie a helicopter to is in the trailer. I think towards the end of the second trailer, we saw a helicopter like just circling around this like reddish area. So maybe there's some. Oh, you know what? This is probably what happened. I think um that sword helicopter was just flying around that like area, whatever it is, and then it just got like sucked in to this reality that they're living in, and it's obviously in red, so it is from another world potentially.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's in a miniature size, but I guess sword has that technology to do that.
maybe.
But then when they were over at the planning meeting, remember that black lady that was talking to Wanda
Yep.
at the meeting? That is her name is Maria Rambeau, and I don't know if you remember that name from Captain Marvel, but she is the young girl.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
No way.
yeah, she is, and she works apparently. Because yet again in the trailer, she has a sword logo on her necklace, so I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that she works for Sword. So I think
Hmm.
that's how she got there. I think the helicopter had her in it. I don't know if that's another messed up theory.
All these good takes. I like it, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I think that's how she got there. But then yet again, when she was talking to her, I think Maria said, "I don't even know what I'm doing here, to be honest." And then Wanda's just like, "You know what? I'm thinking the exact same thing." When they were talking, and Um, oh, also, when Wanda's looking at that helicopter, she's also like looking around to see if anybody else is around, right? When
Yeah.
she's looking at it. And then who's the first person we see?
Agnes.
Agnes, with the most devilish looking face ever, too. She looks like the villain, I swear to God. If you look at her face right when Wanda turns around at her, she just screams evil. And you know what she says? She says, "Look, it's the star of the show." That's Imagine like she's just
I
a puppet
know.
master.
I
Like
know. That I honestly think like someone's controlling these people.
I
It
think
could
it's
be Agnes.
Agnes.
You never know.
And
How
also,
many?
yo, who is Ralph? You think Ralph is real? Her husband.
Oh, or her husband? No, no. She made that shit up.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah, but the one thing I'm just skipping over now because
yeah.
you're bringing in all these other things that are like pretty small. These ads, small
Oh
little
yeah, true.
ads
Yeah.
that happen midway through the show that they're in,
Uh-huh.
right? In the second episode, you see this the watch that they're advertising, and it has a freaking Hydra logo on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I texted you about it
Strucker's.
right
Strucker.
after,
Yeah.
and I like Strucker watch. I'm like, oh my god, Strucker.
Yeah. He's
So
from
I was
Age of
like,
Ultron too, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. He
So
was the person actually looking after Wanda in that movie. Like he
yes,
kidnapped her, right?
yeah, yeah.
So that's a throwback. Yeah.
So it's interesting because didn't he escape? No, no, he
No,
died. No,
Captain
I think
America killed him, I think, right?
no, I think Ultron did.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're
He
right
wrote on
about
the
that.
wall. He wrote on the wall or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
with
did
his
kill
blood
Struckers.
because he escaped.
Yeah.
Captain hit him with his freaking shield and then he escaped.
Right,
That's
right,
see.
right. You know your stuff. Zarius has
I'm
been binge
remembering.
watching all of these.
Oh my god, I can't. I
uh,
have nothing else to watch, man. Okay, but yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about that. Like these ads that are keep popping up. Like I don't know what those are, honestly.
Even in the first commercial, it
Yep.
was a Tony Stark toaster.
Yeah, it was a Tony Stark toaster,
Yeah.
right? I
And
found that really odd. If it was like it was like a long pause. He's like a toaster, and then like no one was saying anything. And then I'm like, I don't understand this. Like why this is even in the
yeah.
show.
Uh-huh. But
And it
then
was
they
really
say
confusing. And then they started talking, and then
say
brought
by
in Stark
Stark Industries.
Industries, and they brought Strucker, and then I was like, oh okay, so this is before everything happened probably, or the storyline is everything before,
That's
like
true. I actually didn't even think about that.
right because Hydra's basically done.
That's a very
Hydra's
good point, you know? I
Hydra's done. Like Stark Industries is done
To
because
be
he
honest,
stopped.
yeah, but I think that's just because of the timeline that they're in right now, and I think we'll just see the commercials adapting to each different decade,
That's what I'm
right?
thinking. But like, why would they do such a thing,
I guess so.
right?
Yeah, that is
Like,
interesting.
why would they incorporate all these kind of things in there? But I don't know.
Maybe it's just like a Marvel, you know, it's just for the
Maybe like
fans, you
just for the
know.
fans, like trying to incorporate different aspects of the
Uh-huh.
Marvel storyline inside, right?
You know, I think what I did notice from the toaster one, not so much the Tony Stark, not so much the Stark Industries thing, but there was and I don't know if you caught this, but there's a light there. When the toaster is beeping, they put the toast in and it starts beeping, right? And that was the first time we got some color because that button on the toaster, it turned from, I guess, white to red. It
Really?
turned from
Oh,
red,
I didn't see
yeah.
that.
And it
I
kept
didn't see that.
getting, the beeping kept getting faster too as the toast was getting more and more ready to be
Hmm.
done. It was getting faster. So I think, I don't know what that could mean, but it might mean something.
It might. It might.
Yeah. But
It's
then
good to think about those things though too.
the second one with the Hydra watch, like we had a theory about that. We were talking about, is it possible that Red Skull is behind all of this?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, you know what? We're gonna skip on to this as well. Like, I know you were mentioning like who is the person that Beekeeper outfit in season 2, right?
You think it's
I
Red
mean, I
Skull?
mean, I mean, in episode 2,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, you can see a little outline, like the friggin' jawline, but I don't know. Like, is it like I don't know. I've been watching Shield as well,
Right, right.
right? Like, I'm pretty far along in Shield. I'm like season 7 now, so like, it could just be like an LMD. Like,
What's that?
it's like a robot. Like
Oh,
you build a
okay.
robot on like and like they adapt and stuff like that. Like so I don't know if they brought like stuff from like Shield over because I know like Strucker, like his story was all in Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And like fighting Hydra is like all in like Agents of Shield.
Okay, I see.
Right? So
I gotta
like
watch that.
yeah, I recommend it. It's a really good show. But like they relate a lot to like the Marvel characters and all that stuff as well. But like Strucker is like a really big part in it. Like
Right.
talking about like a whole season's about him, I would say. Um, and just seeing these different things, but this person like crawling out of this vent, and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Trying to think if we're
but
missing anything else from episode 2 that happened. Um, oh, this is a big one as well. Mr. Hart, Mrs. Hart's husband,
yeah.
he was not in episode 2.
Hmm.
And at the talent show, guess who was sitting beside Mrs. Hart?
It was Agnes.
It was Agnes. Dude, I swear to God, they're working together. I think obviously that scene in the first episode where she's just like, stop it, stop it, stop it. That was so creepy. Like, and then Agnes keeps popping up everywhere. I think they're a team. They're working together. They're working for someone. So that's my take on that. Like, what happened to Mr. Hart? Did she kill him? Like, and where's Ralph? Are they like in a room stuck together? Like, what is?
Ralph's not real.
Yeah, Ralph's not real. I want to see Ralph. Ralph is
Yeah,
probably the boss. He's like the
maybe he's like the head guy who's like managing all this like reality. You never
maybe.
know. It could be,
Yeah, it's like
right? Like
code.
I don't know. But I found that talent show really funny.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
I found it hilarious how like that little piece of gum actually made him like almost like drunk.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like it was like in his wheels, but it was like he was like drunk, and it was so funny the way he
Yeah.
was acting. But yeah,
Yeah, Paul Bettany did such a good job. You have to give credit
oh
to
yeah,
both of them, Elizabeth
oh
Olsen and
definitely.
him. Like,
Oh, sorry, I'm tracking back here. She doesn't
yeah,
have an accent anymore.
nah,
A Sokovian accent.
well,
Like
she hasn't had it
she
since
had an
this.
end game.
No, 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 no. She didn't.
Yeah, she did.
No, she didn't.
Go back and watch this. She
She
had
didn't.
it. She had
Not.
a slight accent.
I don't think
She
so.
said, "You took everything from me."
Not in
From
a
from
Sokovian accent.
Thanos.
No,
From
no, no.
Thanos, she had a little bit of an accent, and when she said, "You will," she had a little bit of an accent. She did.
Who
I'm gonna
did
play
someone
it for
say
you.
that in the group chat yesterday? That she doesn't have an accent anymore? I think
Did
Arish
they?
might have told me about
Did
no.
R say that? I'm not sure, but
Someone told me
that
about
was
that
the
yesterday.
biggest thing. That was
For
the
real?
biggest thing when I watched it. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, why is she just not have an accent
I don't
anymore?
know if I just couldn't recognize an accent because, well, obviously, like her accent in Age of Ultron was a lot different than the one in Endgame, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I
I
guess
think
that
they
maybe I
because
just haven't
they made
noticed
it a
it.
lot thicker.
Okay.
They made her accent a lot thicker in Age of Ultron because she was a new character,
Right.
like her and her brother, like
Hmm.
coming right out from Sokovia.
Yeah.
But I felt like they tried to fade her accent out because they
Right.
just wanted her to like to speak normally. I don't know
Well,
why. Because
also
I
just
kind of
being around all these Avengers, being in America now, I guess you get
yeah, I
that.
know, but like you can't just your accent doesn't change. Like
Over
you
time, it
your
would.
accent no, but like if you're okay, this is like from speaking like from like I'm talking about like genetically. You
Yeah.
should have your accent. If you grow up in a country, you usually have your accent or like maintain an accent from the until the age of like 14, 13. And then if you move before that, you can lose your accent.
Right. But
But
after that, it just stays.
but after that, it should just stay.
Okay.
Your accent should stay. Like I have family who was brought up in the UK and they lived there all their life, went to university. Now they're living in the States for like
Right.
many years, like
That's true.
5, 6 years plus, still have their English accent. So like,
But this is Wanda Maximoff we're talking about. She has the power of the Mind Stone. She can change her accent with her
oh,
mind.
you know what? That really confused me though. That
Yeah.
itself
Yeah.
confused me. I'm just like, oh, that's weird.
I didn't catch that. Maybe just because I honestly thought she lost her accent probably in Infinity War. Like I noticed a bit of it in Civil War, but Infinity War I thought it was gone. Yeah, I
How
thought it was
many
gone.
lines does she have in Infinity War?
Do you want to try and name them off? Can we do it?
I kind of want to look now.
Yo, I could probably tell you. What's
Infinity
the,
War,
the first
Infinity
scene
War.
is her in Vision, and then she's just like, Vision, is it the stone again?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then a Vision's just like it's like it's as if it's speaking to me.
It's speaking to me.
And
And
then
then he was like, "Tell me if you feel anything." No,
yeah,
I just feel you.
yeah, exactly.
Man, I know that's
Yeah,
so
there you
bad.
go.
Hold on, I'm literally pulling
Dude,
it
yeah,
up.
I literally can't watch Endgame anymore because I know all the lines and I like every single line it seems, and I just hate it because I say all the lines in my head. I know what's happening next.
Oh,
So
I know.
I'm so grateful that there's finally a new show that came out that I can actually like watch and not know what the next scene is yet. I'm not that comfortable with WandaVision where I know exactly what happens after one another.
Yeah,
So, especially with the second
yeah.
episode, I watched the first episode maybe 2.5 times. Like I think I started watching the third episode again, or the first episode for a third time last night. I didn't make it all the way through, but then the second episode I've watched twice, but I
Okay.
still haven't gotten the hang of it.
Yeah, I think I may watch it again for sure. But like, I know what you mean now in Infinity War. I'm just like I'm literally looking at the scene right now. But um, I kind of realized how they kind of like fade her accent out in this one.
In
Like
Infinity War,
she
yeah,
doesn't really, yeah, she just doesn't have an accent. Like because they're in Scotland, right?
yes,
Viz and Wanda.
yeah,
So I don't know. Maybe they did try to. I think they may have faded it out, but
yeah. I'm telling you, I think it's gone. I think
I
it's
think they
gone in
did.
Infinity War.
It.
Even maybe in
How can
Civil
they
War,
do that?
you could realize you could, yeah,
I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to rewatch all of them again now.
yeah.
I think that's what I'm gonna have to analyze it, man. I'm gonna send you like a written like
Let's do it.
essay.
Let's do it. You got to break down, like, you got to find like a word, a specific word that she says in every single movie and just compare them all.
Yeah,
It's like
I
how she
got it.
says vision in every single
Well, she doesn't
Marvel
even
movie,
say
I should say.
Vision anymore. She says Viz
Ah,
now
true.
in other ones,
Exactly.
right?
That's how they evolved the accent.
Right. So
Yeah. Oh, also, before I forget, just that phenomenal new Marvel intro at the beginning of WandaVision.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the title sequence. I wasn't
Oh
expecting
definitely.
that. I thought it was just going to
Definitely.
be like the Disney Plus thing and then just jump right into the series.
Yeah, but they actually had like the Marvel
Yeah,
intro.
that
And it
was
was
sick.
nice to see that. It was nice to see that again in like a different series other than
Yeah,
watching the movies all
I
over
know.
again.
And I was hyped for it too. I was like ready for it. After watching that, like I get pumped. And you see the
Yeah.
Tony Stark snap that they included in it now, and
Yeah.
Captain
Yeah.
America with the hammer, and Yeah, it's pretty cool. Are we missing anything from episode 2? There was a lot that happened. The beekeeper, we got that. The helicopter, we got that. There was another part when they were sitting down at the planning meeting. Agnes is sitting beside Wanda, and I think Dottie said something about the devil. She said something about the devil. Like the devil is always the devil is somewhere. And then Agnes tells Wanda that's not the only place he is, right?
Yeah.
That's just creepy.
You know what? I think they're trying to make her the villain, but she's not.
Okay, I can see that too.
They could possibly trying to portray her as the villain, but she's not.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And I hope that is the case, because her and Wanda seem to be having a pretty close relationship, and I do want to see her turn good. But as of right now, like, dude, just go back to that scene where she's just like, look, here's the star of the show. Look at her face in that clip. It just screams devil. Like, it's so bad.
I'm gonna have to rewatch all these again. I'm gonna rewatch it, and like, I'm gonna investigate pretty thoroughly on this now.
Yeah, and I showed it to my parents last night too, right? And they just think it's all it's a comedy, right? Like it's she's like, my mom's like, I don't get it. Like, they're just showing like shows from the past, like Dick Van Dyke Show, I Love Lucy. Like, it's a comedy, it's a fun show, and then I'm just like, no, it's a horror.
It's a horror.
Horror. It's not. I don't know if it's gonna be horror, but it's definitely mystery. Yeah, it's definitely a mystery. I don't even think it says comedy. If you look at WandaVision on Disney Plus, it doesn't say comedy. It says like romance, mystery, superhero.
Yeah.
So they're not really focused on the comedy side, even though it is pretty funny. But there is some dark humor.
Yeah,
to say the least.
And there is. Yeah. But I really enjoy how they have that like little crowd sound in the background in the show, like laughter in the background. I like that.
I guess that's gonna go away for some of the episodes moving forward. Like, I
think it may do once they get out of this reality. I don't know. I think they'll realize what's happening. I think they'll find out what's happening, and maybe it's happening there, like in their town. I think it's happening in their town. They're not being controlled like
from the outside. Yeah.
No one's controlling them like from the outside, like in they're in like a bubble and they're being controlled in that town. I think it's like someone's in that town.
Okay. But you definitely think that they're in some sort of enclosed space.
Yeah.
On Earth, you think? Or it's hard to say. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either, but
it's hard to tell. There's so many different ways that we can go about this, and like different scenarios that we can come up with, like saying like Vision's alive, he's not dead. Oh, they brought him back to life. Oh, they didn't, but he's a new person, right? So like, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward for the episodes ahead of where we can actually like try to like find some stuff out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if the third episode's gonna dive too much more into it. I
hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want it to prolong a bit more. I want some more mystery in this.
Well, there's going to be 9 episodes, so it's going to be a roller coaster. And I like how they're releasing it every single week. Like, some people don't like that and they want to just binge watch it right away and get it all done. But I think that takes the fun out of it. You know, we've waited over a year for Marvel content in general. We don't want to just finish it in one day and just wait another 2 months for Falcon and Winter Soldier. We want to prolong it as much as we can. So anything else we need to talk about this? We talked about a lot of stuff.
We talked about a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah. So I think that's it. We touched on basically everything. They're in color now. They have kids. That's also something maybe we should say for the children. Was a common line at the talent show. I have a feeling that all of these people in the community, like I said, they're being tricked, and the person tricking them got them to say for the children a bunch of times to influence Wanda maybe to have kids. Maybe the villain wants them to have kids.
Doesn't she look pregnant at the end of the second episode?
Yeah.
Right? So I think she is.
She is for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So So yeah,
Yeah,
see
and
how
then
that goes. I'm
we'll,
excited to see that for sure.
yeah. All right, that's a lot of Marvel stuff. We should do we should be on like a Marvel show. We knew a lot of stuff. We
I
said a
know
lot
it
of
was
good
good.
stuff. Yeah.
I know I was impressed and on how much
Yeah.
I knew. To be
Yeah.
honest, like.
Hey, you've watched like all the Marvel movies a bunch of times, so
Yeah, a bunch of times. I try to analyze it as it's way too much for me though. I'm gonna stop now.
it's fun, yeah. But hey, I'm gonna be watching probably this a couple more times before the next one comes
Yeah.
out and trying to figure out what exactly is going on. But hey, I'm sure the viewers are really entertained by what we talked about, and hopefully they are they kind of know a little bit more about what might be going on here in
Yeah.
WandaVision. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it for the show. Zarius, thank you very much for coming on, man. It was great.
No, thanks a lot. Had a
Singing
good
with
time.
Martina.
I just want to put this back out there. So
Yeah. Singing with Martina at Singing with Martina on Instagram. We'll be back on Monday. Martina, like I said, if you're listening, come on the show. We want to get you on. I want to talk to you. So there's that. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment down below. Check out my Toronto Maple Leaf season hype video if you haven't already. It's up at, I think, 730 views. So
it's good. It's really good.
It's good. Yeah, people seem to be liking it. And that's really about it. I'm going to be back for an episode next week. School starts next week, but I'm going to make an effort to put an episode out. I'm going to try for one episode a week throughout the school year. So we'll see how long I can do that for. I know it's going to be busy, but we'll see. But yeah, anyways, Zarius, thanks again, man.
No,
And
thanks a lot.
yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.
Yep. See ya.